Today, I'm going to give you 5 things that are holding you back from being a successful music producer. And the purpose of this video is not to be negative or to hate on anyone. I've been guilty of doing all of these things. I want to see you win, and you might be doing some of these things without realizing that they could be harmful to your career. And if you're wondering why you should hear me out, I've made over $800,000 selling my beats online, and I've got songs with artists like Future, SZA, Lil TJ, DJ Khaled, and more. So, reason number 1, you don't treat your music career as a business. It's called a music business for a reason. And whether you like it or not, if you want to do music full time, you can't treat it like a hobby. Too often, I see producers romanticize the idea of just working whenever they feel like it, creating music and putting stuff out there with really no thought and strategy behind it, and then wondering why they're not getting the same results as someone who's consistent and intentional with what they're doing. It's boring advice, but if you aren't consistent with the amount of music you make and the overall style and brand behind your music, you're gonna have a hell of a time trying to make a career out of music. In this market, more than ever, having fire music just isn't enough. You could have the best, most unique beats in the game and still lose to someone with generic beats who's more consistent with their brand, style, and the amount of music that they put out. Although it's cliche, it's true. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Reason number 2, you're overcomplicating your beats. Unless you're trying to win a beat battle, there is absolutely no reason to make beats to impress other producers. If your beat has crazy hi-hat rolls, sliding 808s, 4 different open hats, snare rolls, and crazy kicks, nobody is gonna make a song on that. Whether you're trying to get placements or sell beats online, simple beats are going to outperform complex ones 9 times out of 10. And simple doesn't necessarily mean generic and boring. It just means that there's space for someone to rap or sing on. To give you an example of how simple beats can outperform the rest, let me show you the project file to my biggest beat ever that sold over $60,000 in leases on BEATSTARS. This melody probably took me 10 or 15 minutes to finish, and it's my biggest beat yet. If you send a producer a melody of yours that sounds amazing, but it's so complex that there is zero room for them to add drums, they might appreciate how great the melody is, but they're not going to use it because they can't add anything. And if you send a rapper a beat that doesn't have any space for their vocal in the mix, they're not going to use that beat either. I think every successful producer I know has gone through a stage where they were overcomplicating their beats, so you're definitely not alone. If I were you, I would recommend doing one cool technique for each beat. So if you have a beat with a crazy intricate melody, go simple with the drums. And if you want to have some unique hi-hats, keep the rest of your drums simple. I've been stressing this super heavily in my Discord server where I send beats to 21 Savage, Future, Lil TJ, Polo G, Suicide Boys, and many more. If you want your beats sent out to these artists every week, click the link in the description to check out my Discord. It's 100% free to join. Reason number 3, you're not leveraging your ideas. If you aren't leveraging your music and ideas, you're probably going to lose in the long run to someone who is, because you're gonna have to work harder to get the same results that they are. I often get asked how I make so many loops, content, all of that, and I'm not making 10 times more than the average producer, but I am leveraging my ideas to squeeze the most value that I can out of them. Every time I make a melody, hypothetically, I have 4 different ways to monetize that melody. I can send that melody to big online producers who are gonna split 50% of all the beat sales made on their beat store. I can sell that melody in my loop kits online. I can also make finished beats with my loops and post those for sale on BeatStars. And I can also take that melody and let's say I've got a guitar, piano, and a vocal chop and send them as starters for other loop makers to collab on. For me, on an average week, I'll make around 15 finished melodies. And with those 4 ways that I'm monetizing every melody, I theoretically get 60 chances a week to make money off my music. And with those 60 chances a week, that ends up being 3,120 chances a year to make money off of the music that I'm making. So make sure you stretch and get the most opportunity out of every idea that you create. That brings me to the 4th thing that you might be doing that's holding you back from being a successful music producer. Holding your best work back for placements. As a producer in this day and age, it's crucial that you put your best work out into the world. A few years back, I made the mistake of holding my best work for bigger opportunities. Holding my best stuff back only hurt me. I had a tight beat channel that was on track to make me thousands a month consistently by the time I was 16, but when I started holding back my best work, my online business died and I didn't get any placements from that. As time has gone on, I've doubled down on putting out as much stuff as I can. And as a result of putting so much stuff out into the world, I've ended up getting some pretty major placements on accident. My song with Future, SZA, and DJ Khaled all started from a loop kit that I posted on Instagram. TM88 found this post on Instagram and hit me up saying my stuff was fire. From there, I got his email and continued to send him loops for over a year. And eventually, we landed one. But had I put only my worst loops in that pack, I might not have caught TM's attention. So make sure you're putting your best work out there. If you do it consistently for a long enough period of time, people will end up coming to you, and that's what you really want. Before I get into this next reason, if you've learned something from this video so far, hit that subscribe button so I can keep making videos like this. Reason number 5, you get stuck in the trap of believing that the market is too oversaturated. I see something about beat selling, loop kits, or just music in general being oversaturated every single day. And although it is more saturated now than it ever has been, you cannot let that be an excuse as to why you're not successful in your career. I promise you, no matter how saturated the market is, there are people who are going to get creative and find ways to make it. One thing you can do to beat the oversaturated market is make yourself stand out from the rest. Because there's a ton of talented producers nowadays, having something that gives you a unique value is more important than ever. So if you can sing, make melodies where you have your own vocal chops. If you play the flute, use your real flute to give yourself an advantage and unique quality that most producers don't have. And if you don't have any unique skills or values that set you apart, go learn one and stop making excuses. And this doesn't even need to necessarily just be music related. You might have an amazing personality. You might be able to market super well, or you might even know how to code or graphic design. Whatever it is, find a way to be creative and use it to your advantage. A great example of this is my boy Zippitano. He got his start in the music industry by giving free artworks to bigger producers, and this eventually led to him getting a multi-platinum hit with Lil Baby and Rod Wave. Alright, I know I said 5 reasons, but here's a bonus one. You surround yourself with the wrong people. If your circle is a bunch of producers who aren't where you want to be or aren't moving towards where you want to be, you're most likely going to be limited to how big that group of people thinks. If you only talk to producers who think it's all luck and it's impossible to make money as a music producer, you're probably going to grow to believe that. Speaking from experience, anytime I've started talking to someone who's a lot more successful than me, my mind opens up to ideas that I didn't think were possible for me. For example, when I met Dilly Got It Bumpin', I saw his BEATSTARS sales for $30,000 in the past 30 days. And that honestly broke my mind. But after spending more time talking to him and thinking bigger, my business grew to hitting over $30,000 a month as well. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who have accomplished what you want to accomplish or are on their way to accomplishing what you want to accomplish. If you want to learn 3 ways to make over $10,000 as a music producer, click this video right here.